When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast, this is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. Word.
Welcome to Mark My Words, where this episode, I sit with a young lady by the name of Melissa Flagler, which I'm honored to be in her presence as she talk about transition. She's going to be the guest today as I be the listener and you all eavesdrop. Welcome, Melissa Flagler, aka Missy. How are you today, Missy?
Hi, how you doing, Mark?
It's a pleasure to sit with you today. Now, I want to just jump right into the two. I said Missy, but government-wise, your name is Melissa.
Correct.
Today's date, you like to go by Melissa versus Missy, aka what you're mostly known as. Can you tell me why today you'd rather go by your government name than the nickname Missy?
Okay, so it used to be like Missy B.
Right.
And Missy B was wild in the streets, fight. Mm-hmm. First I got the name from rapping.
Okay, because I was thinking Missy B sound like you spit on the mic.
I used to rap really well. And got that name, but everybody knew that's Missy B, that's Missy B. Missy B carry a lot of bad reputation. That name alone, you know? Okay. You know how they say your reputation precedes you. Right. Missy B precedes me, and that is no longer who I am. I got stabbed in 2006 in my artery. And they said I wasn't gonna make it.
As Missy B?
As Missy B.
Okay.
3 days later, as transitioning from Missy B to Melissa.
Okay.
And people still keeping Missy B name on me.
Okay.
So I had a Missy B image, walking into a Melissa world. At this time, I was running a halfway house. And I got into it with a young lady, altercation. But when I went to apologize, because we had grew up together, you know, for getting the best of her, I got stabbed.
Okay.
So they said I wasn't going to make it. 3 days later, by the grace of God, I had a collapsed lung. It had fully expanded back. And they had sealed the injury some miraculous way. And I felt like Missy B died that night.
Okay, so Missy B no longer exists. So did Missy B grow up on the west side or east side of town? To give us some feedback on who Missy B was, what side of town you come from?
Strictly west side.
Strictly west side. Okay,
never lived on the east side. Never.
All right. So a west side young lady. Did you grow up in a two-parent home, single mom, grandmother? How did you grow up?
I'm the separation baby.
Meaning?
At 6 months, my mom and dad separated.
Okay.
So when my other 4 siblings grew up with 2 parents, I became the separation baby. So I grew up just knowing the single parent, being transferred from one house to the other. Weekdays with my mom, weekends with my dad.
Okay.
Church with my dad, church with my mom. They had to, so we switched it out, which she went to Baptist. He went to Pentecostal, but I liked the Pentecostal.
Okay.
And my dad was a gospel singer.
All right.
Along with my sisters and cousins, the Flagler gospel singers.
The what gospel?
The Flagler gospel singers. So I was always at every singing, every church event with my dad. Pretty much a dad's girl, but didn't understand the separation part, you know?
So you had a dad in your life, and that's interesting. Not that it's abnormal. I guess hearing you say what you went through as a young lady getting into the streets, the normality usually is didn't have a father, the fatherless daughter, but you had a father. Okay, so was your father in your life like all the duration of your childhood, teenage years? Like
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. My mother only called on him when I was in trouble.
Okay.
Go get her. She's still out 12 after 12. She ain't in here. She ain't, been called, and he'll come find me. Okay. Like if I got in trouble, went to jail, he'll come get me. Mm-hmm. He was a great dad. He begged my mother repeatedly to let him get custody of me.
Full custody.
let me, and she just refused to. Like, I can raise my own daughter, you know?
Why do you think your mother refused to? Now that you sit here today as Melissa, why do you think your mother refused to give your father full custody of you?
I think it was a part of her bitterness, being scorned to him leaving her and 5 daughters, you know? Yeah.
So you have 5 siblings?
It's 5 girls.
All
it's
girls?
All girls.
You don't have any brothers?
No brothers.
Okay.
But my mother, we had a basketball court in our yard and a pool table in our garage. But my mother made it that the neighborhood guys became our brothers. Okay. So they hung out at our house on Jefferson Avenue. Mm-hmm. A bunch of guys, no girls, you know. And I grew up that same way, that same manner. My sisters all hung with guys, you know. They played basketball, pool, real good. And I grew up that same way, just hanging with guys. I have a group of girls that I'm close with, but I really didn't hang with them. We're just really close, you know, but I didn't hang with them.
So you created like a sister bond with them, but you more hang and chill with fellas.
Correct.
So the siblings, the sisters, are you all from the same mother and father?
Correct, yes.
Oh, wow. So it's 5 of you from the same mother and father, Mr. Flatler.
Correct.
Is he living today?
He deceased.
Okay, God bless his soul. Is your mom living today?
No, she's deceased.
So both parents, God bless his soul. What age were you when they passed?
My mother passed in 2018.
Oh, recently.
And my dad passed in 2008.
Okay.
So I was grown, pretty much came out of addiction, changed my life around. They got to see me change my life around.
Okay.
Because I was their problem. Child, good. I was really both of their problem.
And why were you the oldest, youngest?
The baby.
You're the baby.
With older parents.
With older parents. So is there a gap between the next sibling? What is the gap? How many
10 years.
10 years. So that means the first sibling, you probably like 20 years gap. Mm-hmm.
They were disappointed in my mom. She said she just came home and put the papers on the table and went in her room and they like, what you mean? You pregnant? She was 37 when she got pregnant with me.
That's not bad.
Yeah. But I was like, she was a well-established parent at the time. She was a nurse, worked at Rochester Psychiatric Center, had been there for years. So it's like pretty much anything I wanted, I got because I was the separation baby. So she had to fill the void. She filled the void with buying me whatever I wanted, you know?
So separation baby, I keep hearing you say that. I want you to elaborate for my listeners who may be like, well, what really is a separation baby? Because it sounds like a self-explanatory term. Mm-hmm. However, I like the way you're using it, so I want to hear and more expound on separation baby.
At that time, they had been together for years, since childhood, you know, grew up, got married, had 4 children at the time. They were together all those years. Okay. And then when she had me, and when I turned 6 months, like when she got pregnant with me, and after my aunt had lied, my Aunt Georgia had lied to my dad and told him I was a boy. So you done had a boy. And he came rushing to the hospital. My mom said, like, boots all untied and stuff. And when he seen I was a girl, it like broke his heart, you know?
Because he just wanted a namesake.
I want a boy. Most men want a boy. After 4 girls, I want a boy.
Not that he didn't really want you, but it was disappointment, I would say, at the time, because you felt, because clearly you was the daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. But men, we do want namesake, and another male carries our name. So separation. You gave yourself that title then, did you? Or
I did. I placed it there because sometimes with the relationships and the bond I have with my sisters, they often blame. There's a lot of blame there. Like, you know, it's probably, I think and this is only my opinion, that they can feel deep down like, not until you came, we had like a whole family. Oh. It was like we had a house, you know, mom, dad, and then you came, you know? Then she shouldn't even had you. We was all, you know, my sister, which is above me, like she really felt that way. Like, I'm 10 years old. Why is she having another baby?
So you said it was by opinion. So as you sit here today, do you still feel that that's what it was between you and your siblings? That they just felt like you came along and things went separate?
No, I don't think they really feel that way today. Okay. I think they feel like you put mama through a lot. You put us through a lot. I did. And to kind of want forgiveness immediately is a process. It's going to take time. It don't happen overnight. Even in friendships, relationships, people may jump back to the time when I was the addict, Melissa. Totally different from who I am today,
So listening to you, Melissa, I'm quite interested now. And it's funny, me already knowing you personally, but I didn't know you on this level. It's so funny how you think you know people until you sit down with intimacy.
Correct.
And get to know them. I would have never thought, I have to be honest, that you grew up in a 2-parent home with siblings and like a family. And that's not in a judging statement. That's just for what you've been through. Because normally dads get out there and save their daughters. And it sounded like your dad was trying to at times.
Correct.
Coming to rescue you.
All the time.
And stuff like that. But I guess it's like, wow, I didn't know that. But I applaud that of your father. And I thank you for sharing that. So as the baby, the last baby of it, usually babies are babied, as you said you were. So what happened that you got out? At what age did you feel like you got out in the streets? First, tell me what made you like become the black sheep, if you will.
So as a baby sister of 4 older sisters, they're teenagers. I'm watching it. Their development, their ways. I had an older sister, always loved to wear long nails, mess with different guys. I kind of loved her the most, like she was different. Always doing her own thing, gone, always buying me gifts, And she's my nephew, Morel, who's deceased, mom. And at 23 years old, she dropped dead at Job Corps of a bad heart. And I was 5.
Okay.
But my mom didn't explain death to me. She'd send me to relatives' house until she grieved. I was at the funeral, Then I got sent to Syracuse, me and my nephew to his grandparents' home. I was still, why are they sending me everywhere? But my mother had to grieve. And one thing for a long time, not until I was about 14 years old, I never seen my mother cry, ever. So I didn't really understand how to deal with emotions because you come from a household that there's no crying and there's really not emotion shed. Even after the death, you didn't really see the emotions. Not even with my sisters.
Okay.
I know they grieved because that's their sister, but I didn't see it.
Okay.
I kept asking, where's she at? Where is she? Where is she? And she started coming to me in my dreams. My mom used to be like, what she says, if she want me to come with her, don't go. Don't you go. Don't go with her in your dream. Wake up, okay? So at a young age, my mother was teaching me spirituality in a manner that that young kids not really taught. But she knew it was something different about me from the conversations I carried, the things that I remembered, the things that I would say to her, like, who told you that?
Okay.
Like, she's different. And my dad knew I was different too. He used to be like, I really wish she was my boy. And in a manner, I kind of try to be that for him. I used to try to be that for him, like tough.
Wow.
Boy, cool, late. Just hang with him all the time.
So to hear your father say, I wish you were my boy, how does that feel, even hearing me say it now?
I don't want to say that. I feel like my sister, my second older sister is like really his favorite. Like, she's a chocolate like him, and me, I think the bond that we had, that he had to pick me up individually, spend time with me. He didn't do my other sisters, he just come and get me, which is strange now that I think about it. He didn't do the visitation with them, he just did it with me.
Because now that, listening to you earlier, you said, I hang with boys, men, or whatever, not really with women. And also to hear your father say that to you, as a little girl, you probably did start thinking, let me roughen up. Because, little girls are supposed to be like gems, precious and pure. And just to hear you say I was rough, I was hanging out there. Involuntarily, your dad probably assisted in pushing that, and of course not meaning it unintentionally. But hearing me say that, do you think that's probably what happened to you, like trying to be a boy?
I don't know. I was really close to my nephew Morel.
Okay.
We were more like
Was he
sister.
your age?
He's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So that was another thing. My sister already had a baby and my mom got pregnant. So they were like, what are you doing, you know? And my nephew didn't never want to say I was his aunt. He always be like, you know, they'd be like, that's your sister? He'd be like, yes. I'd be like, why you lie? I'm not your sister, I'm your aunt. He'd be like, don't say that. Then they gonna ask questions. Yeah. So I'm your mother's sister. You know, he didn't like that. Right. You know, so I always wanted to go with him and his friends. They seemed to have more fun. They had electronic football. I wanted to play. They play football, the paper football, where they do it with their, you know, to kick it over your ring. He taught me how to play that. He had to make me his friend, you know. He had racetracks, so I did everything he did. And I found it to be funner, you know, playing with boys' things, doing boys' things. I think it's so much of the mentality of a boy. Only thing I don't like is just the women.
Okay, going through, having to deal with the women part, dating women. Okay, so how old was Missy when she got out of the house and came off the porch, if you will?
I want to say growing up, a lot of people don't know this, growing up with having those teenager sisters, I always was a cusser, like a little girl.
Because they always cussed too? Okay.
And they let me. You know, it was kind of cute and funny then. Like, you know, my sister would be like, say this to her, you know, say that. And I'll say it and with attitude, and they thought it was cute. But when I got older, I didn't grow out of that. I still talk back to them, still cuss at them, you know? And then when they tried to control it, it was already I was out of control.
Because y'all let me do it all this time. So
but my older sister started beating me up. Like, you was not tough, you know, so she could get me. So they'll call her when I was out of line, I'll run from her. And that started me running away, you know, like going over for it. When I first ran away, I want to say I was 9 years old. I ran to my Uncle Sway's house, which is my cousin Charlotte and them. And I was go over there and run away. And at that time, it was like a gang, little G girls. And I was young. But I talked a lot, but I wouldn't fight. You know, when they come to fighting, I was scary. So they started trying to teach me how to be tough. You're going to fight.
So back your talker. Okay.
They started beating me up, teaching me how to fight. And you know, you get tired of doing something, you learn how to fight back. And I did. Okay. You know? And then they started having me hang with them. They were older than me, but my mature level, my mentality was like theirs. And probably even more mature, you know? At 12 years old, I got my virginity taken. You know, my mother didn't know. I used to tell my sister, she used to be like, no, you did.
So when you say your virginity taken willingly?
Willingly.
Okay, so it was amicable between you and the young man. Okay, so how old was the young man? 15. Okay. I was 12. He was in a gang. He was from Crosstown. That's when I started going crosstown. We was catching the bus crosstown every day. And one friend knew it wasn't right. And she called my mother. And I got to tell you something about Melissa. And so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, when they're catching this bus cross town, they going over there with these guys. They're in a gang, you know. They're hanging with Bad Rap. That's the name of this gang. She told the street we'd be on, you know. My mom said, my dad. And there I was coming from the store. My dad pulled up and said, what you doing over here? I'm like, Daddy. By this point, had you been sexually active?
I was getting ready to.
Okay.
I was hunching.
Okay, at that point.
I was getting ready to. I was hunching.
Okay.
I was ready. I just wasn't ready.
Okay.
But I was ready.
Okay.
I kept saying, is it going to hurt? I'm scared. But I was ready.
Okay. So when you said the little girl came out when you saw Dad, and so did you go with him?
He made me go home.
Okay.
Don't come over here. Don't bring your butt back over here. Sneak back over there again. He'd come get me. It went on and on. And after a while, I got my virginity taken, so I really was being over there, you know, all the time. I felt close to this man. I felt like we were tight. It was a special bond between us. It was different. He had an older girlfriend. She used to want to beat me up. He wouldn't let her. Like,
the 15-year-old?
Yeah, you better not touch her. Like when I came along, he pushed her to the side, like, this is my girlfriend.
Okay.
You know? And they were in a gang. We made a gang, like a female part of them. They were bad rap. We call ourselves Bad News.
Okay.
And then that's when the wildness started.
That's
drinking, smoking weed, and hanging out.
12?
Mm-hmm.
So you were 12 years old when you was first introduced to your controlled substance, which was?
Marijuana.
Okay.
And then smoking marijuana, I started dating. I had outside boyfriend and an in-school, high school boyfriend. So the gang member was the outside boyfriend, but the in-school boyfriend was a mixed guy that I went with. His mom was white, his dad was black. And I used to go to his house during school or after school. And one day his dad was getting high, smoking cocaine. We knew he was smoking something out of a bottle, out of a tube. And he called us downstairs. They used to let me come over and have company, go up in his room. And we came downstairs and he was like, y'all want some of this? And he was like, what's that?
The father of your then boyfriend, which was 15, he was 15, the boy, you was 12. But the father of the 15-year-old said, would you guys like to have some of this cocaine?
We ain't say what it was. Right. He said, pull this. In my head, I'm like, I know about bowls and bongs for the marijuana. We pulling it. He like, hold it. Yeah, that's a good one. Pass it to him. Pass it to me. At that time, I'm not knowing I'm introduced to cocaine and the drug once it's in your body. That feeling, that's the initial start of addiction. But we did it that time. We enjoyed it. We got drunk, whatever we did, had sex, and and it was his turn on to watch us be high or something. I don't know why he did it, but he did it. And we went on upstairs. He was getting high. I guess he wanted somebody to get high with. And every time I would come over there on the weekends, that was something that we did with his dad.
Each time?
Most of the time.
And so
mother be at work.
This is a wild story, but it's needed because parents are protective for reasons. And I'm pretty sure you having children now became protective, even just knowing what you went through.
Correct.
And we always didn't want our kids to stay the night at people's house.
I ain't let my daughter stay the night over nobody's house, really.
Yeah, my kids, I was very strict on staying the night anywhere. But it's important that we hear this live story so that parents and children that's listening now can understand this is why we did it. Because people would think we're too strict or too cruel and we are overprotective and we didn't allow them to go to people's house. Here you went to someone's house and the father was introduced you to cocaine. At 12 years old, when you took your first, what is it called?
Hit.
Okay, at 12 years old, when you took your first hit of cocaine, do you remember that feeling today?
I was just like high, like, ooh, this feel good, this tastes good. Like this feel good. It'd be like, wow, it's a good high. And then that's the initial high.
That you're chasing for the rest of it.
Yep, you'll never get it again.
That's what.
So that was freebasing one way. So then a group of us still hanging out in the hood, a group of us friends started getting high. Again. And they were hustling. We were all hustling.
You're still 12?
13 at this time.
13, okay.
Transporting. I was transporting drugs for these Haitians. I would leave school every Friday. Catch the plane down to New York and catch the train
back. 13? Wait, no, because nowadays you can't fly without what they consider a companion pass. Like you got to pay for the...
Not then.
You didn't then? Wow.
They would get my flight. I would leave, come back to Rochester on the train. They would pick me up at the train station, take their duffel bag, and pay me $500.
So did you look 13? When you were 13, today these kids, they don't look it. So I'm trying to see how were you passing by with this? Because sometimes
I think like at 12 years old, I don't know as you remember, I started cutting my hair, bleaching it blonde, bleaching my eyebrows blonde. I was kind of a unique young girl. I had a lot of fashion about me. at a young age.
So that will make you look a little more mature.
I knew, and I dressed. Yeah, okay. I used to wear like leather skirts, leather jackets. Yeah, me and my best friend KK, we shopped up. Yeah,
Okay.
We used to go on Wilson Suede and leather and put our stuff on there way before school started.
Okay.
We had suede, leather boots, leather coats. Yeah.
All right.
I was sharp. So
shout out to KK.
Yeah, the Haitians.
13. You transporting. You getting $500 to transport, which is huge back then for a 13-year-old.
Big time.
So you still live at home with mom?
I went and bought all the gold rings, gold earrings.
You or bought your mother?
Me.
Oh, you bought that
I was
for
buying
you.
it. So my mother would think it was the boyfriend, buying those things, At that time, I was promiscuous. At that time, I knew of my beauty. I knew, I was, really cute looking girl, pretty skin. I looked kind of foreign, That's what they used to say. You look kind of foreign, yeah. And I messed with Jamaicans, messed with him in school, messed with the dude from the bad rap. I had my boyfriends.
Now, why do you think you're promiscuous? Because a lot of times, sadly, in our culture, like molestation or sexual abuse starts early, and that usually introduces people to promiscuity. Was that your case?
Not at all.
Wow.
I was just fast.
Okay.
Very fast and hot-blooded. Even, from young girl. I'm talking about like 7, 8 years old. Most of the time I stayed night with my friends. It was like this thing about me. Like everybody like I play with, be around. Now you want to hunt, you want to play house. Like, now you got to play house. It was always that. Why you guys got to do it when I come over? Like why when I stay the night, you want to hunt or kiss or,
So politically speaking and diplomatically correct, we're saying you were promiscuous. But in the culture, slang, is that you being known as the hoe?
Probably. After a while, when it got older, back then it was just like, it was fast and it was like, most of us young girls who was in the gangs, we was fast.
Because going back to you saying nothing happened to you, you chose to be promiscuous.
After I had sex, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. I became like a nymph, like I liked the sex.
Okay.
I really liked the sex. It's not even so much of the person, I liked the feeling of sex.
Because what did it take you? I heard you say the feeling, but with men, like what feeling did it give you besides feeling good? Was it a sense of, because you had a father? See where I'm going? I'm trying to.
So I can go, I think I know where, okay, so, and it's at the same time, right, when I was messing with these different guys, I wasn't really easy. Like, I want something, some sneakers, some something. Okay, and then the drug dealers came around. Jamaicans, drug dealers, different, and they will take care of, at that time, they took care of their girlfriends back then. We was 13, 14, we was spoiled. And I had a boyfriend that had a bad habit of smashing my bamboo earrings. Every time he popped one, he'll buy another pair. Like pop them, they'd be like $150, buy another pair. So I was, I guess, and I want to say this, my dad set the bar for me because he always took care of me. He always gave me money. That's what allowed me to go out and buy marijuana, beer, liquor, beer, and stuff like that. He always gave me money.
So he set the precedent, so where if you mess with any dude, they had to do something because you was used
Correct.
to it. Okay.
Correct. And I was spoiled by my mom. So it was like, I came
There was an expectation after you laid with someone. And so, but what did you say to the ones who's listening and watching and say, well, that's equivalent to prostitution? How do you dissect the two to say no because of...
They both do. You're really prostituting yourself. You're really prostituting yourself. Your spirit is prostituting itself. You're compromising yourself. Your body is your temple. And so every time you get up, you're getting up with emotions. Whether we tell ourselves, I got paid for this. Oh, he take care of me. You're still picking up emotions and spirits. Every time you get up with emotions. Every time, as a female. I don't know, some males do too. where a female be like, why he acting like a little, you know, bee or whatever, you know.
Sassy.
Because he got up with emotions. But now that I'm mature and older now, I know sex is just sex. I still want to believe that it's so much more.
You still like it?
I still love it. Still love it. I still love it. And strangely to say that, sitting here today, I have not had sex in 7 months.
Really? So, of course, purposely, but is there like some sort of abstinence you're doing or celibacy? Why?
So, as I got older and started, you know, doing drugs and started prostituting myself, I'm like, okay, I didn't want to do it here in the city because to me it was too much, it was damaging to too many people that cared about me.
You didn't want to do what in the city?
Prostitute or sell myself. So I didn't. You know, a lot of guys, when they found out Missy getting high, they was coming with their drugs. Missy, I got some work. And I'm like, yeah, how much? They be like, you gotta pay. Come hang with me. You know, I found myself hanging with a lot of drug dealers, like getting high just for them to keep my company with them. And eventually they got robbed too. They get robbed. I was good at what I do. I ain't gumly.
So you was setting them up?
No, I would be with them, but I was like,
go in their pockets while they sleep.
Or why I'm giving head or like that. I be getting in your pockets, stealing, stashing it, hiding it.
So clearly the fellatio was that good that you took the guy out of the whole.
Everything I did, I was a great entertainer when it came sexually. Like I had little things growing up that I used to can do, like smoke cigarettes with my vagina, stuff like that. I was very
So you was doing tricks with your
entertainer. They'd be like, "Give Missy, call her over here." This was me. This is a known Missy B. You know, she don't mind showing her body. She would strip for us. We gotta pay her. And it'd be like a little group. And like, y'all ready?
So you know how to make your female anatomy smoke a cigarette.
Puff and blow.
And it did that?
All the time. Then, you know, I use, like I'm telling you, then you tell somebody else, and they ask me, I'd be like, when you gonna find out? Give me your money, pay me.
Right.
Let me show you.
So go back to what you were saying. You didn't want to do it in town. And I like what you did say. You said because you still respected certain people in the city. Like probably, clearly your mother, probably father,
my siblings, my aunts.
So you was like, I'm not gonna do it here. You had enough sense to say, let me take this on the road. So
especially when my dad heard about it.
Right.
Like I heard you was with one of my friends. Like another friend said, I heard you've been dating one of my friends, have you? And I said, yeah, Dad, but he's my age, and you my baby. You know, he couldn't. It really bothered him. It really bothered him, you know, so, you know, and I stopped dealing with that man, you know, but that man had took good care of him. You know, my dad threatened him and stuff like that, but I stopped dealing with him and it was bothering him. It was bothering my sister. She was coming everywhere she knew I was, fighting for my life, like, stop doing this. And I have friends, my day ones that we got 40 plus, I honestly can tell you, I never let them see me high.
Why?
People think like, how you ain't never
Why?
They ain't never seen me high, especially in the shower. Never. Cause she was like, they always important to me, but she looked up to me in a different manner. You know, like my maturity about myself, the ability to have money at a young age, the ability to buy her clothes and buy mine too. And, you know, like give, you know, to give. From a young age, I was giving. From when I was transporting, I had to get rid of that money quick, so my mother didn't realize of how much money that I was holding. So I basically like was buying everything. Me and my friends, I'm buying the weed, I'm buying the liquor, you know, I'm buying our concert tickets. I got us.
So what age were you when you decided to take that on the road? When you said, I'm gonna prostitute elsewhere? How old were you when you started doing it elsewhere?
We used to go out of town, like Virginia and stuff like that, and, you know, meet guys, do stuff, you know, like that. And, you know, and it was like, they were recommended, you know, like, or I was recommended, should I say. And then they'll call, you're going to come out, they're going to see you, we're going to send for you, like that. And, but when I was doing drugs, and exchanging sex for drugs. I did it up until I did it to where I ended up meeting a pimp. And he was a drug dealer too at the same time, but his lifestyle was of a pimp.
Okay.
But he met me, and I like to go and hang with him and chill with him and be around him. And he like, why you? And I was like, I gotta get in the tub. He like, you wanna get in my tub? I'm like, yeah, I stink. I've been up 3 days. One thing I will, come to your house and wash my butt. Like, give me a rag and a towel. You know, and I have a friend, she's older, but she always be like, here, Missy, put these stretch bands and shirt on. Cause she know I like to dress, so she cut me up the part, you know? And I got in this tub, and I had on a hat, and I was dirty, and I was stink, Marc. And I got in that tub, and when he came in that bathroom and he seen me naked, he's like, you pretty. You pretty. Look at your body, you pretty. I like, give me a towel. I like, he's gonna charge you looking at me. Like, he said, I'm gonna pay. He pretended like he was a trick, you know? But he really was a pimp. Then he was telling me, like, you know, you can make money. He was explaining to me how DC, how to, you know, like pimping and whoring go, like, it's a lifestyle. People live it. You know, it's like, you'll be like a lady of leisure. You gotta
put a title on it, Lady of Leisure.
I said,
real classy.
yeah, you gotta just stop getting high. I said, maybe as I get away from here, I will start. He's like, come on, we can go. There's a lot of things you can do down there. You bad. I said, I'm gonna go. I remember getting ready to go, and a friend who's not even really a real good friend, and I know she remembered like it was yesterday, and she was dating his cousin, and them two was gonna ride us down. She kept saying, Miss, you really gonna do it? I said, I'm gonna really do it. I'm ready. We got there, we got to the hotel, we laid up. I'm comfortable because I was really fascinated with this guy, you know, sexually I was. And he was like, you ready? So we finna go, I gotta go today. He said, yeah, we ain't got time, we gotta pay, you know, we're gonna have to survive living here. We gotta, you know, you gotta go down today. I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna show you. So he dropped me off. He was like, this $100, if they pick you up, this is for you to get out of jail. He said, that's how much your bail will be. You'll know when they're doing a sweep because you'll see the hoes go running. I'm like, okay, we in DC. He said, I'm gonna start you on 9th Street. I'm gonna drop you right there. Get on 9th Street because I'm running. Getting, you know,
now,
I want to get away from getting high at the same time, you know? At this time, I'm 18.
Okay.
And I want to get away from just getting high. And I was real functional with getting high, but I was killing myself. Just couldn't nobody see it. Look, I'm hanging with my friends. We dressing. We hanging. We going to every concert. But when I leave them, I go to people's house that I knew to get high.
So would you say you back then you were sneaking and geeking? Okay.
Major.
Okay.
For years.
So now you're in DC, you're 18, you're quite developed, I'm pretty sure at this time. But when he said, you see the other hoes running.
Like it's like a whole suite. The police come in, you know, paddy wagon, pick them all up, just out the blue. It's mostly kind of legal, the prostitution there in DC. But when they like having a conference or a meeting or something at the White House, you gotta get from up there. But you know, they still stayed. Right. So you be in the suite. But I was like aware of the suite, and I don't go glamorizing it, but because sometimes you got to be careful who you tell your story to, because they'll try to walk in your shoes. Right. So I don't glamorize it, but it was, I want to say that was probably the most time that I had the most class, etiquette ever. I spoke a certain way, I carried myself a certain way, you know, and I was the cleanest. But I was prostituting myself, so when I laid down, the men picked me up and they gave me the money and stuff like that. I felt so dirty because I'm particular about who I want on me. I want to choose. But at this time, I ain't had no choice. When I decided I don't want to do this no more, the pimp beat me up. Shocked me because I thought this was a business arrangement. You really pimping. You beating me for real. You beat me. Now I'm ready to leave. Leave, come back home, leave him, come back home. I'm getting high, you know? All the time when I was making money, he didn't know really what my worth was. So I hide money in the Greyhound, another prostitute told me to hide your money in a locker, get a locker, Missy at the Greyhound. But she ain't know I was Missy, I was April.
Okay.
I was April.
Okay.
I used my cousin name terribly through all my addiction, through all my arrests. I always be April. I was always April. And I think that was probably like me staying close to her. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm April. And then I knew all her information, so that was April. We was close from babies, you know. And I always would call her and Tanya and tell them where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I'm with. We'd be on a three-way. They like, you know, they was like, oh my God. I'm probably, I want to say, intrigued, shocked, but not disappointed because it was like I was doing it with class, you know?
So I'm noticing as we speak, you mention your mother, father, siblings, and different people, but every time you mention one of your close friends in that circle that you speak of, you get emotional. Why are you getting emotional for those friends? Like,
see, because it's like I'm not easy to deal with. And when I think about all the things I took them through, and they just stood right there, I think that's the epitome of friendship. When people question our friendship, that's our friendship.
Right.
Because we've been through some stuff together.
Right.
You know, I mean, some of them like getting abortions together, just like we've been through some stuff that others would never know.
And clearly they didn't judge you. That's the key.
Never judge me.
That would erupt great emotions.
So what I want to say is they did judge me and they had judgment, but the judgment that they passed of others don't know was the good Melissa, the good part of me. No matter what she's doing to herself, I'm going to tell you what she was for us. I always been there, you know? Like, so when you think about friendship, like some people, when they go off doing their own thing or they never look back and to check. I always made sure they were all white. You know, like, y'all okay? She always checked in with them. And they always checked in with me and they carried me, you know? Like, I think their prayers carried me. Their beliefs in me carried me. Okay? Especially Keisha, because she's a prayer warrior. But she knew the God in me because we church raised us too. We was raised into the church.
Your dad.
And she was raised saved, you know? So we had that bond spiritually. Us two. Pray. You know, she'll be the one to say pray or start praying. You know, the other ones was support, more of support system. April was more like Carrie for my daughter. Make sure she, you know, the way I want her to be. Make sure you get her and Nene. You know, especially Nene. Nene was the mature one of us. You know, she had a baby young and, you know, always messed with men with money, but she always made sure my daughter was okay when I wasn't present. You know, each one of them played a different part.
So that's why the emotion starts to come.
They're my heart chambers,
Okay, that's great.
I'm very, very territorial with them. So, you know, you hear some people like, she's bullying. They're not scared of me. They're aware of me. It's a difference.
They're not scared of me. They're aware of me.
They know exactly who I am.
So going back to this pimp, when the pimp beat you, and at that moment when you brought that up, you and I laughed. It's important that the viewers know we're not laughing at abuse.
Not at all. It's terrible.
We're laughing at the situation of you thinking that you guys are partners. That's more what was funny, not the abuse at all.
Touch back on the abuse. As I became abused, after coming out of prostitution and going into relationships, I became the abuser.
Because you were abused, introduced by that pimp. Was it one time?
All the time.
So when was enough with this pimp beating you?
So I came back home, got high. And as I was getting high and came back home and doing stuff, I was catching charges after charges after charges. So I started running. I was cutting people up, running, getting high with them, stabbing them, running.
Now, where's this anger coming from? Cutting and fighting people?
The pimp, you know, I don't been pimped.
So he introduced you to abuse.
I was
so
like,
now you're angry.
My defense is up, like.
And your anger.
Especially against men, you know?
Right.
Men who abuse women, like. I was going to develop this
defense mechanism
for them.
So you had misplaced anger.
I did.
So
And didn't recognize it.
A lot of young ladies had to suffer from your misplaced anger. Do you look back and have any regrets for those specific women?
Absolutely. And men.
Okay.
And men. Absolutely.
So if those people, which I'm pretty sure 1, 2, any of them are listening, like, you know, that's your camera there. If you had to say something to them today as Melissa, what would you say to them now?
To the women growing up, young, I done heard from others to say that, you know, I was a bully in school, in class, elementary, where I wasn't aware of it. I knew I was a leader, but a bully where they was intimidated, I apologize. It was never meant to hurt you or to add insult to injury. It was just who I am. Unaware of how it affected others. I was unaware, but I'm aware today. And I apologize. Like, my fight is not physical anymore. My fight is spiritual. I will fight, but I do my best not to. I avoid, but I fight spiritually now. I let God fight my battles and vindicate for me, but I done hurt and did a lot of things to a lot of people. Whether it was in the bars, off of fire water, because we know that liquor brings spirits. That monster is not who Melissa is today. I'm just not there anymore. I apologize. And I want to say a lot of times where people hear something about you and they like, she's tough or she can fight, and a person sizes you up. A lot of people try to take that title.
Right.
A lot done tried and failed. No, it was never about the title. This ain't something you pick up and put down. It's something I earned. I grew up around friends who killed other friends, and we couldn't talk about it. I grew up around friends and did a lot of bad things as we were teenagers that we didn't talk about it. So as I grew up, that was the lifestyle I knew. You do stuff and you don't talk about it. Now when I get mature and I get around other people and allow myself to open the doors to other people, you find out people talk about it. They break rules that I follow. So, and then, you know, people be like, I done heard someone say, you know, she messy. Right? I'm not messy, I'm the message. Most people don't like when you know their business and they don't know if you're gonna tell it or not. Right. Because I'm very outspoken, I have no filter. And I don't know if I'm gonna tell it or not. You know, it's not that not that I can't keep a secret, I just think some secrets should not be kept. And it ain't a secret. If you did it, you should be able to say you done it. You know, I believe in that. And today, my maturity is like, it's not my business. Right. What do I care?
I must say, sitting here with you, when you made that apology, I want the viewers to know I felt the sincerity, because they're not here. People can look into the camera and say, oh, she's just saying that. But the genuineness of it is in here, in the atmosphere. So I salute you for making that public apology to the people you've hurt in the past with your misplaced anger. But I want to go to, I heard you say, my daughter. You mentioned your friends took care of your children when need be. When did you first get introduced into motherhood? What age and when?
I was 22 years old.
Okay.
I got pregnant.
Was that purposely?
I didn't even think I could have kids because every boyfriend I went with, I was trying to get pregnant. You know, you in high school, I was trying to get pregnant.
Okay,
I want to have his baby. I want to have his baby. Never get. It wasn't God. It was God's timing. You know. Even at 16, I used to have irregular menstruals, bleed real heavy, bleed for like 3 weeks. That's probably how I stayed in relationships so long. They'd be waiting for so long. You know, and 3 weeks I bleed and, you know, just a real irregular menstrual. So. I used to go to the doctor. He used to be like, you might well get an hysterectomy because you're not going to be able to have children. I was told by 2 doctors I would not be able to have
before
children.
22.
So in my mind, I had already. I'm not gonna have kids.
That is crazy.
I'm just gonna be a single woman and have an all-white house with white carpet.
With pets.
Yes.
What's funny is listening again how it's amazing how doctors will say one thing, but God.
I went to doctors. I kept throwing up and sick. You know, I thought I had a disease or something. Like I kept throwing up yellow stuff and disease. He said, "What about pregnant?" I said, "No, I don't think so." He said, "No, you're pregnant." I said, "I'm what? I can't be pregnant." So now when you condition yourself to be one way and then another, and then you introduce, now you're finna be a mother, and I ain't wanna be no mother at that time. No, I don't wanna be a mother. And I watched my other young friends, they had stretch marks and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want my body look like that. I'm a whore.
So I'm a whore.
At that time, I became a stripper. I become a lot of things in DC, right? So after all the charges and stuff, I went back to DC. I must say, I kept going back and forth.
But not to that pimp, right? You went back
couldn't
to that?
stay away from him sexually. I'm going back to him.
So he's putting it on you literally and figuratively.
I'm not gonna beat you no more, baby. I just miss you. I'm like, oh, I miss you too. I'm gonna have one of my pimp friends to send you down there. Come pick me up too. You ready, Missy? You pack? Yeah. I go back down there and beat me again. The last time, I flipped it.
Something like Tina Turner. And
just like that. Just like that.
Really? Like
I promise you, just like that. He came and I met a dope boy. I used to strip too. Well, I was in DC. You know, I found out another talent I had.
All your talent is around like exotic and pleasurable.
Yeah. My sister, I got
because
one
we're gonna later
said,
talk about your talents today that are nowhere near.
Yeah, my sister said everything you do be like sexual. The way you walk, the way you do everything. Look how you eating a chip. I be like, really? You know? But that's just who I am. Such a lady. And with a man's mentality, I think.
So when you had your son, what was it, your son or daughter first?
I had my daughter first.
Okay.
I was doing good. She had a great dad. You know, he spoiled me. He'd be back and forth to New York. He was Guyanese. He spoiled me, cut me in rentals and stuff like that. And while he was in New York and stuff, I was messing with other dudes, you know, 2 other guys, which happened to be friends.
So you were not in a relationship with your daughter's father?
Yes, I was.
You were?
But he lived in New York, come here, hustle, live in New York too, you know.
But you're openly saying that you messed around on
cheated on him big time. While I was pregnant.
Okay.
And
while you was pregnant, what was taking place?
I was messing with a different guy than him.
I'm emotionally or sexually?
Sexually. I was hanging out with him at the club, pregnant with him, hanging with him. He gone, he died today. His name was Aaron. Okay. But I was pregnant. All his girlfriends that he messed with used to want to beat me up. They all used to want to beat me and they wanted to fight me like, okay. Like, don't touch her. You know, he liked me, you know.
So you end up having
Let me say, before I got pregnant, when I was messing with my daughter's father, I messed with the 2 friends. So when I got pregnant, and a couple other friends, but when I got pregnant, and like 5 dudes came, was like, "That's my baby." Okay. Not your baby. You know, like,
so you knew that who baby that was, or
I kind of like journal, keep up what I do, like I was with him, you know, and just something for.
Okay. So now that baby's here, did motherhood change you any bit when you're first?
So when I was pregnant, it really didn't. I couldn't believe, like, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant.
You still worried about your body, the stretch marks.
I wasn't scratching nothing. They like, don't scratch, don't itch. I just rub it. I ain't get none either. Okay. And when I had my daughter, she was so pretty. Okay. She was perfect. She was so pretty. Pretty hair, pretty eyes. She was perfect. I was like, nah, this changed the game. Okay. You know, I'm Missy B, and I got this pretty baby. It's over. So with that pretty baby, even though her daddy was, when dudes met me and meet me and they see my baby, they fell in love with me more. You know, with the idea, like, I want to have a baby with her. Look how pretty that baby is. Or they fell in love with my daughter, should I say.
So then motherhood kicked in. So were you being a mother at the time? Okay, there was no, I'm going to let my mother raise her, take her to my mother, grandma. Okay, so you were being an actual mother to your daughter at the time.
But she was like so pretty. Everybody will watch Cash. Anybody will watch. You're like, I can go club, and they're like, I got her. I got her. Especially my sister who couldn't have kids. Yeah. And let me say this: I didn't want to have her. Remember, I didn't. I didn't want to. My sister said, I don't have no kids, and I can't have none.
Right.
So I did it for my sister. And she said, I said, you promise you're gonna take care of this baby? She promised me.
So she helped you raise kids.
She stood up to the promise.
Okay.
Like, I never felt like I was hold down by a baby, never.
Okay.
And then for a long time, I ain't even like when she BM, I ain't even change her. My sister did. I was like, she used the bathroom, you know? It's hard, right? She used the bathroom.
So was there ever a distance between you and the first child because the aunt assisted so much? Between you and your daughter, there never was like a distance?
Not until after I had my son and started addiction.
Again, because you stopped for.
But see, it was like, to me, it wasn't addiction then. I was getting high and still functional, still moving.
Recreation to you.
Recreational at that time.
So
recreational.
Okay, so now, how old is the difference between the daughter and son? How many years later did you get pregnant again?
My daughter was 3.
Okay. So now, is this a relationship?
I didn't expect to be pregnant. At this time, now I'm in the active addiction. Getting high. And at 2 years old, I took my daughter to my mother's house. You know, like y'all got to keep cash. I get high. I had my own apartment and stuff, fully furnished, real nice. My mother did everything for me. Bought new furniture, I had cable, phone. I got high. And I said, you got it. And my baby, her dad still come back and forth, you know, but he used to her being at my mother's house just anyway. So he'd leave money there. His mother buy her a bunch of clothes, so I didn't really have to do nothing but take care of me, you know? And he gave me money, but he didn't know when he was giving me money, he was like killing me slowly. And he gave me that lump sum of money, I go get weight, get high.
Off the weight.
My friends be like, where you at, Melissa? Where you at, Melissa? We finna come over. And then they'll come over. And I send their little bus right back home in the cab. They ain't catch the cab, they'll get on the bus and keep the money. like, let's go get some weed, you know. But they never, and I asked them to this day, they said they never looked at it like nothing more than she about to go do something. Or she about to go with one of them dudes, you know. They never thought I was about to go get high.
So now you have the son. And you said that's with an addiction. After he was born, was his father a relationship were you in a relationship then? No.
Now let me say I had my daughter. Now I'm in active addiction. She's 3 years old. I'm getting high. My nephew, who's real close to me, he's still in my life, but he was like always around me and stuff, making sure I keep my house clean. And sometimes he'll clean up, making sure I cup everything up, stayed apart. It's like almost like he was enabling me, but he was protecting me, covering me, like, Auntie getting high. I really don't want nobody to know, And he was with my baby father, my son father, and he was in the car. And he said, who is she? And another friend said, that's Missy B, but that ain't Missy B. Who Missy B really is, she getting high right now, so you gotta wait till she get on her A game. She ain't right now. He said, no, I wanna meet her now. And he told them to introduce us. Told me to come to the car, introduced himself to me. And I said, you don't want to mess with me. I'm getting high. I'm not right. I was very outspoken, like, this ain't what you want. He said, yes, it is. Can I come back and visit you? I said, sure, what time? He's like, when you want me to. I like, about 7. And he's like, and I was about to say, before I can ask him for some money, he pulled out a wad of money. At that time, I was like, oh. Jackpot, Pulled out a wad of money, gave me $100 bill. He said, I'll be back at 7. That was the sure that I'll be waiting for him at 7. That money was the wing and it won me in. But he would never touch me. I used to get out the tub, towel, I'd talk to him, never touch me, just come by every day, look at me. I used to be like, why you ain't gonna touch me? He said, I'm gonna be your friend till you be Melissa again. Till you be who I want to know who you are. And he waited. I kept tempting him. He fell into temptation. And I got pregnant. And I told him I got pregnant. And and he said, I don't know, is this a blessing or a curse? But I want this baby. And I don't. I don't want no more kids. I don't do the, you know, I
You
don't
said
take
that
care
was the
of
first one.
Yeah,
So
I don't want no kids.
Okay.
I was crying. His sisters was calling me. We will take care of this baby,
Again.
Missy. You ain't got to worry about it. Like, promise.
Okay.
They promise. Okay. I get high, though. He like, I'm going to be there with you. He tried his best to keep me clean while I was pregnant, but I got high during my whole pregnancy.
With both kids?
Just with my son, really.
Okay. So he's born, and now
While I'm pregnant with my son, 8 months pregnant, I get in an altercation with a man I'm getting high with on West Main in the Pinnacle building. And I cut him up on Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas.
He later didn't, because I gave him my money to go cops because they wouldn't serve me no more because I was pregnant. Missy Wings, so I sent him. I sent him, you know.
So they arrested you.
I ran for 3 years.
Oh, you ran
back
for
to
3 years.
DC.
So you had your son in DC.
I had my baby here,
Okay.
hoping they ain't come to the hospital and arrest me. You know, being at home, hoping they don't come to my mother's house and arrest me. But if they come and ask, you know, my sister would lie, no, we ain't see her, you know. But the officer said he was watching me all the time.
Okay.
He just wanted me to heal. He said, I wanted to arrest you. So the man later got the infection of the cuts, later caused the infection to his body, which caused him to die.
So it ended up being murder.
Correct.
Were
That
you
sent me running.
So you were keeping up with his
No, I wasn't.
How did you find out that happened? Infection to die.
Because the detectives came by.
Oh. So
I had already the charges for cutting them. You know, they was looking for me for cutting them up, stuff, right? But they could never find me. And just so happened they told where they was like, run, Missy, run, after I cut them up. I ain't running them and telling me rob me. They said, run, Missy, we got you. I ran, don't you know all of them told? Missy did it, and she stayed right over there, gave my address and everything. So my sister lived downstairs from me, but they didn't know that. A lot of people didn't know that. My sister was my sister, and she lived downstairs from me. So I ran down to her house and told her what I did. She said, you what? I was out of breath. I said, I cut this man up. I don't know, he bleeding real bad because it was with a razor. So razor cuts don't bleed as fast. And as he said, you having fun, Missy? Because I told you I'm going to give you my food stamp card. When Worldwide News open, I'll give you back. I said, I gave you cash, you know? Cut him up. I kept cutting, and the blood didn't come out fast enough. About 7 seconds later, start gushing out. And I seen the damage I had did, like, you know?
So you say you kept cutting this person, kept cutting him. As the blood is gushing.
It wasn't bleeding at first, like it was like a Dove razor.
But you wanted to see the blood. Okay.
I needed to see. I didn't think it was cutting.
So you were that angry at that time, of course.
I don't think it was anger. It was just I was wild then, like high, I think. I want to say I picked up something I couldn't put down and I became somebody I did not know. So to tell you who that person was, in addiction, I can't explain who she was. Because she was like a stranger to me.
That's understood. That's why when forgiveness comes for people like you, we have to say it wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
When our kids have to forgive us in this time, when
it wasn't me.
Ones, that wasn't us at that time. And I'm going to say us because I want to put myself in your shoes at this time. It wasn't you. It wasn't us. So, but then you're now charged with murder. And did they ever pick you up?
I ran forever. I was running to DC. That's why I was April, because I was running. Saying I was April, I was catching charges in DC. I was catching charges. And they had me in Arlington, Virginia.
So how many mugshots would you say you have?
About 16.
And I'm picturing the pictures I know of you, and they're not mugshots. They're nice, purposeful, posing pictures.
So I don't know if you remember, one time I had posted this picture of me and I looked extremely young, and I had this like curly ponytail and this cross-colored green shirt on with the thing in front of me, and everybody was like, you was boot shoplifting? What you doing? I said,
that was that charge. Did you ever do time for that?
I got sentenced 7 to 15 years. And I had put in a pill. You know, you got the jailhouse lawyers. Like, put your pill in now. Missy, you was getting high. Missy, you know. And one lady was right. And even though to this day they say she crazy, she knew just what she was talking about. Missy, put your pill in now. Do it now, Missy. I was doing it. She was showing me what to do. I did it. By the time I got upstate and they brought me back on the pill, you know, people like, y'all got that 911 guy, y'all ain't getting out. It was about 4 of us. I was like, y'all let us pray, you know? I really wanted to do that time because I didn't want to come back out to these streets because I was doing too much.
You wanted the isolation so that you can get elevation.
Correct. I wanted to get clean. I wanted to become back me. I was tired. And the thing about it, they could never catch me for nothing. They caught me in an open container. Officer walked up behind me with an open container and picked me up. I had been running for 3 years.
You had been wanted at this time.
Yeah, for that murder charge. But I lied and said my name was Martin Luther King, January the 18th.
You said your name was Martin Luther King?
No, I said it was on Martin Luther King birthday. Okay. You know, the holiday. In January, I got arrested January 18th. Okay. January 19th, they was only doing, you know, appearances. That's it. And they was letting them go. I was like, I'm about to go. And sure enough, open container, time served, she was letting me go. But as I was walking out, deputy, I don't know what was on her mind. Come to the court. I got to the door. She was like, Deputy Wilson, stop her. That ain't April. Her name ain't April Lundy. Her name, April Myers, her name, April. I mean, her name not April.
Melissa.
Her name, Melissa Flagler. I said, I'm April. I turned around and said, I'm April. The judge said, what do you mean? You know, haven't she been fingerprinted? She said, but I know who she is, Judge. She's not April.
Black deputy.
Turned me around. The judge asked me to come back. I caught a whole new charge. False impersonation. That's a felony.
So today, let's fast forward to today, because you have an interesting past, but
so
you have a better present.
I wanted to know, after that, I went on the court, went on to jail, came back on the pill. I became the first felony case in drug court. I told the judge, said, unless you say something profound, I'm going to re-sentence you back to the previous sentence, 7 to 15. I asked my attorney, what do profound mean? And he said, something deep, heartfelt, Melissa, meaningful. Why should he let you go, give you another chance? I looked at him, I looked back at my mother. My mother was crying like, don't let her go. She meant that, like, don't let my baby go. She'll die if y'all let her go. And I said, I picked up something I couldn't put down and I became somebody I don't know. And I don't know, I can't explain, Your Honor. I just know I'm not a murderer, I'm not a killer, I'm not, I didn't expect that man to die. And his eyes watered up. He said, I felt that. He said, I don't know what y'all need to do, get the paperwork. And they made my charge come to assault. I became the first felony case in drug court. After I graduated from drug court, I didn't do right all at first, but I eventually did in 2 years' time. I graduated from drug court. And I didn't want to leave, because where do I go now? I kept volunteering, coming every day. And the judge said, find her something to do. Give her a job. Call any temp agency you need to do, but get her in here.
So now this is a great segue into God, because clearly God was in the courtroom then.
Amen.
To who you are today as Melissa. So Missy was in that courtroom, as well as the judge, your mother, and God. God reintroduced Melissa, who I'm sitting here with today.
Correct. Who
is Melissa today?
So in the prime of that, doing that, they try to pick it up again. But at this time, so when they picked it up again, it was being real strict on me, and they requested that I go to a halfway house. I went to Sojourner House, and they told me I couldn't see my kids. I was so angry. I wanted to leave. Like, you got a choice. You can leave and go back to prison, or you can follow the judge's orders of him trying to get my life in order. And I did the halfway house, and I didn't see my kids for a year, knowing that I could have snuck over there. I disciplined myself. My aunt, who was into church, she'd pick me up and bring me church clothes and get me dressed and take me to church, to Bishop Hartfield's church every Sunday. And I'd go to church and praise God, but they didn't know what I was going through. And when I finally got acquitted, I testified and told them what was going on with me, you know? But Bishop told me there's something different about my life. It was necessary for me to go through the things that I got, because where God going to take me, how he going to use me, and other women's life is going to be, you know, miraculous. And I didn't see that because I don't like women. I don't do women. Too messy. And I just stuck and stayed into church, even through everything I went through. Like I stuck, no matter if when I got high, I would go to church. On New Year's Eve, I go to church. Like no matter what my status was, I took come as you are seriously. Drunk, tore up, messed up, I walk in Bible way. Pastor Nelson, like, who was she? You know, she smelled like alcohol. Like, y'all judging me? Screaming, y'all judging me? Crazy, up in the church, but I wanted to be saved. God heard my cry, and he saved me, you know? Stuff started happening in my life while I was working in the court. The administrator of drug court died, and the judge said, Melissa know how to do that position. I don't know what y'all need to do, but put her in it. And I got the position by default because there was nobody to replace her at the time. And they needed someone to replace it because the court had to keep going. And I got that position. While I was doing that, a lady who ran the halfway house was watching me. She come in the court, observe and stuff. And she said, and we was having meetings, you know, with faith-based community and stuff like that. But every time I spoke, one of them like, I want you to come be a part of this, or I want you to come. And I'm like, me? And when they first asked me to speak, I'm like, ain't nobody want to hear what I got to say, you know? But when I spoke, it touched lives. It made difference in different addicts or women going through transition lives. You know, I was transparent. So I got in tune with that. And I started working with women from the halfway house, going into the prisons. When they come home, they come to the halfway house to me. And I help them start from there. While I was in the halfway house, you know, you want to go show people, look at me now. But when God tells you to bury a garment, you're supposed to leave it there. I dug that garment up. I went back out and like, look at me now. And not know I had somebody from the past still looking at Missy B and not knowing they were seeing Melissa. And she thought that day, I'm going to try her as Missy B. She ended up fighting Melissa, you know? I beat her, but I wanted to apologize to her. Like, because we grew up together, we ain't going to sleep mad. You forgot I can fight, you know? She stabbed me. That changed my life. When God brought me out of that, it's like I became everything. I used to be trying to remember stuff I used to do. I couldn't remember who I used to be. But you know, people would try to remind you of who you was. And that's what bothered me, you know?
So how old were you then when that gave you that wake up? How old were you?
At that time, I was 28.
Okay.
And I had to become a mother again, you know? I had to learn my kids.
Did they have any resentment or anger towards you at this time, your children?
Not at all.
Okay.
My kids is my biggest fans.
So going back to that, your second child, you said you used on him. Did he come out okay?
Normal, perfectly normal.
Okay.
But he was me all over again.
Okay.
Cussing as a kid, you know, thinking it's cute, dressing him up. You know, you better stop saying that, you know, and he was me all over again.
Okay.
And as he got older, and I'm moving forward, I'm doing good in life.
Right.
I ran the halfway house, was administrator of drug court. I almost forgot who I was. Just knowing who I am. And they going to church, I go to church, me and my kids at church, we're doing good, great. And my son started acting just like me. Just like me, and my mother defended him. She would always be like, just come over here. Let him come over here. Or she would tell him to call a cab and come over. Mom, let me be a mom. Let me raise my kids. And she raised him exactly like she raised me. Spoiled, undisciplined, and unappreciative.
You think he's still that way today?
No.
Okay, that's good.
It's hard to watch him go through what he's going through, because he's in active addiction. And addiction is worse now than it was back then for me, because they have new drugs. And not only does he suffer with the addiction, he suffer with mental health. So it's like dual diagnosis. The mother in me see the baby, but the addict in me see the addict. So I had to balance him out because he got to want it for himself. For a long time, I used to go chasing him, oh man, wearing myself out, bringing him home, only for him to come and disappoint me. Not realizing how much he had disappointed himself. I used to always ask myself, why is my mother so mad at what I'm doing to myself? I had to ask myself that about him. Why are you so mad for what he's doing to himself? Because you his mother. You know how they say karma don't come back around fast enough?
Yeah.
My karma didn't come back around fast enough, Marc. And when it did, I thought I was in a place in life that I didn't have to answer to it.
Well, great story here. But as we conclude, I want to just conclude this with first knowing as I've heard how you dealt with men throughout life. As we sit today, are you in a consistent relationship with anyone today?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Just with myself.
Do you think have you ever been loved by a man to your knowledge besides your father? Do you ever think any of the men that you've been with loved you for Melissa, fell in love with Melissa?
My husband did, definitely.
Okay.
To this day, he still do.
Okay.
To this day, he still do, and he have the utmost respect for me.
Okay.
We're really close friends, And he definitely loved me for Melissa.
Okay.
He speaks that to anybody, like she raised me, and she taught me, And as being loved, it was unfamiliar.
That's why I asked.
It was unfamiliar.
Okay.
And I took it for granted because it seemed like the same kind of love I got from every man. But the love that I got from other men wasn't love, it was lust.
Right.
And the lust that I got from my husband was love. There was a difference. He lusted me because he loved me, not because he lusted me, It was the opposite, and I took it for granted. So people, they may hear that the infidelity part of it, him messing with a younger woman and getting her pregnant. But I was betraying my marriage way before then, not sexually or physically, not being there, not submitting. I took it for granted. This man know my past, know everything I done did, know me, wholeheartedly know me since a kid, and married me anyway, chose me for his wife. Chose me for his wife. I want to marry you. We was together 7 years before he asked me to marry him. We don't need to get married. We living together, we happy. We are doing our thing. We are one happy couple. But he wanted to make me his wife. And he did, and he was great to my kids. And I was playing poker, hanging out. So one thing about addiction, addictive personality is addictive personality. Whatever I like, I'm addicted to. Whether it's drugs, whatever I like, I'm addicted to. So I used to play poker. I stepped out of one thing to another, playing poker every night, up all night. It was just like using. My husband go to work, stay home, sleep by himself, get up, go to work, kept doing it till he couldn't. Went looking for love in other places.
Right.
Attention that I wasn't giving him, you know? So when women think that, you know, we get too complacent, we need not. The same way you get a man is how you keep a man. I had got him, and then when I got him, I keep doing the same things I was doing to get him. I was his side chick. He totally loved the woman, the good woman he was with, came with me and moved in with me and married me, you know? So I own that. Sometimes we have to take a look at our own self.
Be accountable.
Be accountable. Accountability.
So lastly here, and I don't want to go back to no addiction, no past. I just want to hear what you're up to today that's good. I do watch and see that you speak at churches. So what are you doing today that shows the transition from Missy to Melissa?
So today, I do a lot of private cases with people with disabilities, no matter what their disability is. And I work really well with them. I care for them a lot, you know? I do a lot of hours. I'm in the ministry big time. With the Greater the Kingdom Church up under Pastor Kia Brooks.
Okay.
But I'm also affiliated with other ministers and pastors, and I'm committed to them to do certain holidays like Mother's Day and stuff like that for them. Just because of the relationships that we have, you know, they've been there in different dynamics of my life.
How do you give back?
I go and speak. I do community work. I serve. Okay. I'm a servant first. I'm a servant first. When it's funerals and stuff like that, I'll be right there. I'm the hope, serve, usher. But when people are going through problems and stuff that I can touch on, if I'm not delivered from it, I won't touch on it. Okay. If you ask me how do I, do I have emotional awareness? No, I don't. I don't know how I'll respond to certain things. I'm not there yet. Okay. But I do know me. You know, I'll try to see both sides of a situation. But through God keep me. I got to stay close to God. Amen. I have to, because when the devil play with me, he plays with me in the worst way. And I know they say, straddling the fence or whatever, but I got a foot in the door.
No, that's right.
I put God first before anything, I go out to clubs and stuff sometimes, but I know I don't fit in. I don't even feel comfortable in clubs. That's what people don't know about me. I'm not comfortable with crowds at all.
What substance of choice do you use today?
Marijuana.
Okay.
Occasionally.
Okay. How are you as a mother today?
A great mom.
Okay.
A great mom. But I'm not my kids' friend.
As you shouldn't.
I'm not their friend. I'm not their friend.
They have enough friends.
We're not friends.
Right.
I don't allow disrespect in no form at all. Okay. Not because I wasn't a disrespectful daughter. It's because I know the raft. And you don't honor thy mother and father. I don't want the wrath to hit my baby. So I teach them in that manner. It's not about the respect you have for me. It's supposed to be for the respect you have for God. Honor me, respect me. So I respect all my elders. Like an older person will hit me or just, I will not say nothing back, or I will not respond to them. I just have that mannerism about me. That's what some things people don't know about me. I'm not going in front of no elders under the influence, high or drunk. I just won't. Like, I ain't going in, like some things that we had then, these children don't got today, but I still got them. I was raised right. That's what people don't know. I was raised right. My mother never drank or smoked in her life. She never even wore makeup. She didn't even have her ears pierced. So I just chose to go be bad. Like, I went looking for it. Show me something different, because this house got beef roast and potatoes. It was no fun there. But when I go to my friend's house, their mom smoked cigarettes and drank. I'm like, I wish my mother was like that. I really did, and it was sad.
So how are you today as a friend?
Today I'm a genuine friend. Okay. If I love you, I love you. If I don't, I won't. But the thing about me as a friend, I'm very forward. I don't leave you thinking, I don't leave you in the dark about nothing I'm feeling. You know? And I've been told, no, everything has to be addressed. But I think if it's go unaddressed, it come out sideways.
Okay.
I'm big on that, you know, or people will bring it up later on when it should not, and it's not relevant. And that hurts because it make you think they've been holding on to that all that time. Like all this time I thought you was my genuine friend, and you telling me about 17 years ago when I knocked your ice cream out your hand, you know, like, you know what I mean? I was mad because my boyfriend ain't come, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's like, you can't keep holding me accountable for who I used to be.
Okay.
And I think, even though they say your paper trail follow you, I burned mine up. The people keep the paper trail behind me, but I'm not who I used to be at all. If they get to know me, or when they do get to know me, let's say that when the people who done heard, you know, and they get to know me, the things that come out their mouth, like, you're nothing of who I thought you was.
Even with me, as giving my last words here, you're nothing of who I thought you was, and I've been knowing of you for years. It's so important that I implement of. Now I feel I know you, because we go through life knowing of people, thinking that we know them. And I just have to say to you, your story is triumphant. It's good to see you here, because you could have been long gone for many reasons. Fighting the drug of addiction could have been an overdose.
Correct.
The stab could have been the wrong artery or nerve. The getting your crime dropped for murder could have been 25 to life. There are so many reasons that you didn't have to be sitting right here with me today.
Amen.
But you are.
Amen.
And so for that, I see you different.
Amen.
I see you different. And I want my audience, hopefully, to see Melissa different. Melissa is a testament of many people with great transformation. Everybody doesn't get the chance to transform. She did. I just want my viewers and eavesdroppers who's listening to know broken crayons can still color. Thank you for this episode and tuning in to Mark My Words. And thank you, Melissa, for being here.
You're absolutely welcome. Appreciate you.
All right.
When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast, this is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. Word.